everyone, this is Erkan and I and Shulagh Jacobs. It's been a while. Last time we did a podcast was 1st of February. The world has changed so much in that time. Today's the 13th of April. And hi Shulagh, how are you in England? How's things?
I'm fine, thank you. England's starting to get a little bit sunny, which is always good. Always cheers me up, regardless of all the other madness that's going on.
I was looking, you lot had -1 the other yesterday or last night, or you're going to have it tonight, I don't know. But I was looking, I was thinking...
Yeah, it's been quite cold, and we even had some more snow the other day. But I've got little seeds and babies growing in the greenhouse. So
lovely. We'll talk about them in a minute. So
we
haven't done anything for a while. We're going to do this one a little bit footloose, like we do most of them. I think what we're going to do is just do an update and just what's on our minds, what's occurring to us. I don't know. Do you want to get us kicked off on this?
Yeah, I mean, I've felt pretty overwhelmed of late because there has been so much going on to the point where, I almost felt I've had to really monitor the amount of time I'm spending, like looking into stuff, and be a little bit more focused with the research that I have been doing, because I was finding I was just getting so into I was getting so dragged down by it, and I was losing focus on the things that I actually need to do in terms of survival, growing and doing positive things and creating. So I've been very aware of that. Plus, I think the health concerns of being sort of more sedentary as well starting to catch up with me. So I've really had to kind of look at my lifestyle and make some changes there. So I guess that's the thing that's like forefront in my mind at the moment.
So it seems like a very personal perspective. And that's interesting. And what about in terms of what's happening? That you're doing all this research, and we're all looking at what's going on, and we're being fed gigabytes of data, whether it's mainstream or alternative or wherever it's coming from. I mean, how are you patching that jigsaw puzzle together at the moment? I mean, how does it look for you? Has it changed much? As in 2 months, things have moved on considerably, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, I am keeping up with, very much what's going on in terms of, the stuff that they're pumping out into the mainstream. But I've also been taking a little bit more of a sort of journalistic approach and going a little bit more deeply into certain things. I got very interested in the behaviour change and social engineering aspect of it. It's well known that obviously SAGE and the Behavioural Insights team were steering our responses, and obviously gaining our compliance with this outrageous fear messaging. But I started to look a little bit more deeply into how they actually made us hate each other, because that that's something that has really affected me, the way friends and family have turned on each other. And I think we're going to see more of that going forward. So I was really interested into digging down as to how they made that happen, and so really looking down into the personalities and the theories that and ideologies that are actually driving that. So I went to the UCL website, which is where Susan Ritchie, the SAGE Behavioural Insights team woman, and her colleagues really operate from. And they've been bragging just lately about a database of behaviour change theories. And there's one in particular, I mean, this is a list of about 83, I think it is 83 different theories, models for behaviour change. There was one called terror management theory. So I've been delving into that, and it's been really interesting. and there's all sorts of ways that they're leveraging this particular model and how it plays with our self-esteem, and how they exploit the fact that a lot of people derive their self-esteem from their worldview, and like the way the cultural drama plays out. You know, things like religion, worship, politics, and you know how they perceive all of that, and how obviously they rely on their peers to kind of uphold their worldview and consequently their self-esteem. So this whole line of study has been really, really interesting, and I will be writing this up as a piece in the next few days. So
I think
rather than kind of been getting embroiled in a whole host of different threads, I've just been focusing more deeply on the one thing.
well, it's interesting when you mention that, because then I think what people kind of get how, for me, what it looks like is how sinister this is and how orchestrated. I mean, when you talk about behaviour insights, nudge teams, MK Ultra, trauma-based mind control games. I think the big one that really stood out for me recently was the, vax and, not vax and, vax and go on holiday, jab and go, and all that kind of messaging that was happening back in, I'd say, it would have been January, February, and it created a whole swathe of people who are literally saying, "Well, I got injected so I can go on holiday," and then they pull the rug, and then they say no one can leave the country. And this is the behaviour of an abuser. One minute they're beating you, next minute they're telling you how much they love you and they need you, don't leave them. Then they're beating you, and on one level, to create a codependent relationship, you have to play the part. You have to play the part of the victim to go along with that. And I don't think people are realising how much they are being duped into doing things. And I had a very close friend of mine, her husband went and got the vaccine, or the injection. I really don't like calling it a vaccine because, in my opinion, it isn't. And he said, yeah, I don't know, I just ended up doing it. I said, well, you do know you got a 99.8% chance of survival if you get it, and that's the government figures. And you do know the average age of someone dying from it is 81, 82 years old. And you do know that la. And he went, yeah, I guess so, but I just found myself doing it. And I said, what do you think that's about? And I said to him, for me, it's a bit like the Nazis getting the Jews onto the trains to Auschwitz. So they're telling them they're going on holiday and it's going to be a good thing and just get on the train. And, obviously I wasn't there at the time, but my understanding of it. And he said, no, it's nothing that dramatic. He says, I think it's my white middle class background, and that I'm like we do what we're told to do. I said, well, isn't that the same thing? Now people don't equate the Holocaust to what's happening now, and I said to him, I think it's a lot worse. We're not talking about what the Holocaust with the Jews was meant to be 6 million. We're talking about global reach now. Over 25 million in the UK have been injected, and recently saw a report that said, a government report predicting that 70% of people they'll be having fatalities or serious infections from corona in the third wave are going to be people who've had the second jab. So what I've been seeing is how disturbingly sinister what is happening is. That's my comment to that. What I would add though is what I feel is I'm an experience of like I'm on a pendulum. Like going from that kind of thing to real kind of progress. So one of the things that really impressed me at one level, but another I'll mitigate the comment, but it was Mark Sexton, former police officer. I don't know if you saw his to-camera piece about urging all the police officers to come on, you know what you're doing isn't right, you haven't felt great about it, it's time we spoke up, and this is a tyranny and it's infringement on human rights, and essentially we're breaking the law on behalf of government dictate and we should be serving the people. And it's taken them 40, I don't know if there's been any other UK police that have actively gone out and said anything, but it's taken them nearly 14 months for someone in the police force or someone that represents the police at a level to turn around and say something. Now, one level, I'm like, you could have said this 14 months ago and saved us a whole load of aggro, like a lot of us were. But they haven't. They've done it now and they're doing it. And he said that he's had about at least 35 police officers that have gotten in touch, and I think he read a little piece that someone wrote to him about, can't do it anymore. This is horrendous what they're having to do, and there's a lot of concern in the police force. So on one level, it's like, okay, it's finally happening. Not finally, like this is it now. But people are within the order following cultures. So by that I mean the teachers, the NHS, the police force, the civil service, anywhere that they kind of have that kind of structure. People are breaking rank and are starting to say things. We've seen nurses also come out and say that they're quitting, they can't do it. So that's what I'm noticing, the pendulum of this and the effects that has on us individually, and there must be a collective experience of that. When you're out and about, you see a certain level of apathy or fear. So I don't know what you want to comment on that. Is that something you've been picking up?
Yeah, I mean, I have been noticing a definite shift in terms of how people are looking at this now. And as you say, the NHS whistleblowers, and hopefully we will see more and more whistleblowers in the police as well. But even like with normal people, I think their tolerance for the coercion aspect of it is really fading fast, actually.
Well, and also I think I was just literally watching a video. Apparently, they're putting now. So if you go looking for figures on adverse effects or deaths or anything from the vaccines, they've got Prince Philip plastered up as recently dying and passing away. Now, listen, I don't think every death is tragic. I think people die. I mean, it's the only thing that we are guaranteed. It's the only thing, I guess, in life. You may get rich, you may marry, you may have kids, you may not, whatever. There's a lot of ifs and buts. But one thing that's probably pretty much 100% for all of us is at some point we will leave this mortal coil, as they say, right? And it's death with Prince Philip. I haven't seen a lot of what maybe is happening in the UK press, but this is one guy who's passed away when thousands of people are being affected through the lockdowns, through the vaccinations. We still don't know what the impact of the various testing methodologies are going to be, whether that's PCR, lateral flow, whatever. And they constantly deflecting attention onto different things. I think it's really important people stay on point. And I posted a video with Aaron Walton the other day, and all he did was like 15 minutes of swearing. And I even sent it to my mum, and people I thought they're going to get offended with this, but I'm going to send it. Because what I'm offended by is Boris Johnson. What I'm offended by is Matt Hancock. What I'm offended by is the officials or the people, the dictates that are coming through the pipeline. What I'm offended of is 30 million people in the UK, and God knows what the numbers are globally, being injected with toxic materials, untested. People's health insurance is being voided. Their life insurance is being voided because they put themselves into a medical experiment. Simple. So I think that is a lot more offensive than someone just swearing and being angry about what's happening. So I think we've got to get our perspectives right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, you were right about Prince Philip. Like, for 24, 48 hours after the death was announced, it was just, I mean, I didn't look at the TV myself, but obviously my landlord had it on, and it was like, back to back coverage. And you think, well, isn't there something else a little bit more directly relevant to all of us happening here?
The other thing I wanted to mention is what I found is I'll have a conversation with some people and they'll go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And then 2 weeks later, they go, oh, yeah, but there's people dying. And I'm like, you watching telly again? And they go, well, yeah. Like, I've told you now, don't watch the telly. Don't watch the news. Don't watch the mainstream news. It isn't news. It's only there to instill fear, angst, aggression, upset, intolerance of anybody question. I mean, did you see the Edwina Curry clip?
Oh, I know. She is some kind of freak.
I mean, that woman is, she was, last time I heard her was on the Richie Allen show, and she literally walked off the show because Richie asked her a couple of questions she couldn't answer. And she was like, right, I'm off here, I'm off. And it just tells you the level of cognition, the level of understanding. But what I found her doing, is moralising, um, literally creating a division and apartheid in our communities and our society of those who have taken the vaccine, these virtuous, good people, and then there's these low life infected people that are dehumanized,
walking biohazards.
walking biohazards. Yeah. I thought that was horrendous. I thought, what a woman, what a person, what a human, what condition would they have to get into to be able to see it like that? And no amount of reasoning or information seems to make the difference. They're too invested, too embedded in these.
No, and then you have to wonder if people like that are specifically put there to direct the messaging and the conversation in a certain way.
Well, the worrying thing is how many people go, yeah, she's right. They should have done a longer and harder lockdown. Like we've got no opposition. There's no opposition in the political realm. This was supposed to be a 2-week flatten the curve, or was it 3 weeks at the beginning? And here we are. March, April, we're going to be. We're still April. So things are getting worse by the day for people who own businesses. I mean, how many? I think it was like nearly 9 million people on furlough, another 1.5, 2 million people unemployed. That's 11 million people that are not contributing to the economy, that's sitting around waiting for something to happen. We can't sustain it. I mean, what's going to come financially is unimaginable. Unimaginable. It's all orchestrated. No reason for it. There's no real legitimate illness.
Yeah, and people were getting all excited about the pubs reopening yesterday. But again, how long for? And the conditions that they have to reopen under are just so not viable. And there's a few landlords who are clued up, who I follow on Twitter, and they're beside themselves. There was Sasha Lord and Hugh Osman they put that case through, trying to kind of fight it and get the pubs and hospitality fully open on the same day as the shops. And I think they kind of they defeated it at the first stage, but there's another hearing. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
There was another positive note. I spoke to a friend of mine who's got 2 younger boys today, and he said, I said, what's happening with your kids at school? He said, yeah, they're at school. I said, what about masks and testing? And he made it clear to the school that under no circumstances will he allow his children to be masked or tested. And the school said, yeah, no problem. So I think that's great. And I think there was a couple of other people that mentioned that to me where they've, so look, what if we can encourage anything here, other than being informed and, get the information that's going to explain what's going on in reality, is make your stand to what you're accepting and what you're not accepting for yourself and your kids and your family. And sometimes you make the stand and you don't succeed. So it's just you lose that battle, but you keep on. You keep on. And sometimes I know it can be very disheartening and very upsetting, and you get, the pendulum, the swings. And just what I would say is just allow the anger to be where it's at, because if you're angry, you're angry. Don't suppress it and don't pretend it's not happening, because I think that's probably going to do more harm than good. And also, as soon as you can dissipate the anger and the upset, you can get back on point and keep moving if you like, the resistance forward in whichever way you can, whether that's share some more content, pass on some more information. I've got a load of leaflets now as well. We've got a load of leaflets that I'm working with a group. I've got 4 leaflets, and one is about the masks. 2 is about vaccines and the questions to ask before you undertake a vaccine. 3 is about the lockdowns, and then 4 is about legal cases that are going on in the world, because people don't know. If they're watching the mainstream news, they don't know there's major adverse effects to the vaccines. They don't know that there are legal cases and other doctors calling it out. So you never know what will be that little crack in the dam, that just starts a thing, that chain reaction, that, or as you could call it, you never know when you might red pill someone. You could just be the straw that breaks the camel's back. that little bit that tips them over the thing, makes them go, yeah, that doesn't, be something that will get someone to just kind of go, wow, never saw it like that. And it's happened to all of us, so it can happen to others as well. One of the things I'm a little bit concerned about, I don't know how you deal with this, is people that have had vaccines and how you break the news to them, because it seems like they are absolutely like oblivious.
Well, the problem is, even those who are realizing that maybe it wasn't such a great idea, they're still kind of like doubling down and trying to justify their decision.
Yeah.
So if anything, they kind of go back the other way.
Yeah. But it's a difficult one. And also, I mean, I'm mindful that, I was speaking to someone that had been vaccinated, like I mentioned earlier. I said, listen, I don't want to make you feel bad about the decision you've made, but then I don't want to not say what there is to say. So can I say what I need to say in light of what you've just gone and done? And he was very generous with me. He listened, and then I sent him some information, and I haven't heard anything yet. But there comes a point where you kind of want to give up. You just go, oh, well, what can I do? I've even had friends say that about their parents who've gone and had it. You just kind of go, well, I've said all I can say. And you come to a point where you really despair. You have no, what more is there to say to someone who's just gone ahead and got themselves vaccinated? And if you're someone that understands the implications of that, and what I can tell is that most people have no idea. No idea.
No, I mean, this is the thing I've been coming to terms with, friends and family, obviously having the jab and having to deal with, and without wanting to kind of get ahead of myself, thinking of what the repercussions could be in the long term, particularly if these passports do end up coming in kind of through the back door. I know there has been a lot of pushback against them here, but we know they haven't gone away by any stretch. And looking at some of the conversations that have been had within the sort of salsa dance community, obviously something that I'm very connected to, and the talk of there being maybe different events for vaccinated and unvaccinated people.
That's an apartheid system, isn't it? I mean, Israel is leading the charge here. From what I can tell, is Southern Cyprus, Greece, and the UK forming an alliance around holidays. And I've heard people say they're saying, well, at the moment, you don't have to have a vaccine. You could do it with PCR. But then, 3 months down the line, it'll be right. Yeah, we're not doing PCRs anymore. They're not effective. Whatever it'll be, it'll just be one lie after another lie after another lie. I think that's the thing. You've got to really not the veterans. Obviously, we know, but if you're listening to this and you're kind of just starting to open up to this, and we've always tried to tone our conversations to people that may be on the fence or starting to ask questions. Not preach to the choir or preach to the converted. Not that I like preaching, but if you're starting to ask these questions, is just apply logic. Logic. Just ask the very simple questions and see if it stacks up. And really get away from that mainstream media, because it is horrendous. It is like, I see it. It's appalling. It is just appalling, and people sit there and maybe they're not actually watching it. They're being programmed at a subconscious level or some kind of hypnotic state, or it's not even cognition. It's just subconscious. Who knows? For someone to say to you, this is an intelligent person, I think he's a professor or he's a teacher at higher education, and just to say, I just found myself getting the injection. I don't know, I just did it. So you're afraid of no, not really. So you're not afraid of the virus. You don't think you're gonna die from it yet. You just lined up and taken an experimental jab. I think we're nearly out of time. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I think we've been a little bit sedate on this one, haven't we? But there you go. It is what it is. Anything else you'd like to add, Shulagh?
No, just that to kind of back up what you were just saying, that then, they see these people in the media like your Edwina Currys, and people almost kind of mimic the response without thinking, and they sort of mirror that behavior. So you have this whole contingent of people running around having taken the vaccine and then wanting to not be in the same room as other people who haven't. And you can see that in the long term, this is going to lead to a real down the middle division in society if it goes unchecked.
I can definitely, I don't know, not simple, empathise. I've had the same experience, and I felt revolted by that person. I felt revolted. I have felt, and I do feel like they're putting themselves and us in a position that they have no idea about, no concept. Whether it's the leaky side of it, who knows how, once someone's been vaccinated, what level of fallout there is on them of their infectiousness, maybe. But also spiritually and morally, is the tyranny that action is opening the door for. They have no idea. They have no idea, because these are good people. These are normal, ordinary, decent people that are creating, are participating in a global tyranny, and they have no idea. And that is really hard to be with. To be able to accept it, forgive it. To accept it, like, on no level does this make sense. You ask them, it doesn't stop you from getting infected. And they go, yeah. It doesn't stop you from spreading. Yeah, it doesn't mean you can fly. It doesn't mean you can't take the. You still have to keep your masks on. You still have to keep the social distancing. Yeah, but I think I just felt it was the right thing to do. Like, in what way? Oh, leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it. Or just they don't know. Like I mentioned, the other friend. He just said, I don't know why I did it. So some level of mind control, nudge, behavioural insight. I mean, they're doing a stellar job.
Yeah,
But
that's
on the
why I
same
was so
token,
keen to look into them, because
yeah,
it is just
but on the same token, the ones that get it are in complete despair and go, "What? What the f?" Anyway, listen, I want to say thank you for you guys listening in. We are going to do more. I know I said that last time, but I think life for us, for me personally, has been very much unsettled and on the move a lot. So I've not really been able to just get myself in the headspace to do these. But I want to do more. Shulagh, we will do more, yeah?
yeah, definitely.
And we'll get some more guests. I'm going to line up some guests as well. I got some maybe people you've seen in the alternative movement. I'm going to get in touch with and start asking if they'd come on and do a session with us, which is something I was planning on a while back but didn't get around to it. So I'd like to do that. Any questions for myself or Shulagh, please do. I'm banned currently from Facebook, so I can't post on Facebook. Shulagh's my proxy Facebook adder, so I'll probably get her banned soon if she keeps posting quite
Probably.
often. Hopefully. But we are on Telegram. Look up Beyond Mainstream, RPZ, Red Pill Zone. So Beyond Mainstream on Telegram, RPZ. We have got a channel and we're just broadcasting. We're not encouraging any debate there. We're just sharing information so people can take it. For those who are in the game, just take anything that you think is valuable and share it. That's really why we did it. I don't think we need much debate in the people that get it area. We all kind of get what's going on. Anything else? Any last words? And then we'll sign off.
No, don't forget to like and share the video if you enjoyed it. And I shall be writing a few kind of long form articles in the next few days. So look out for those as well. And hopefully we'll catch you next time.
Right, and I'd also like to say for our Turkish Cypriot members or people that are interested in Northern Cyprus anyway, there is a KKTC Plandemi group on Facebook. We've also got a Telegram group. Really encourage you. I've been getting more involved with that as Northern Cyprus is of a special interest to me. So look us up on there as well, and you'll see that we're posting stuff. There's also a website. I think it's KKTCpandemi.com. I will put it below here so you can find it. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you, Shulagh.
You too.
Take care, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.